In today's video, I want to talk about the potential greatness that could be the PlayStation 5's operating system. As detailed by Push Square, they noticed a patent published by Sony last week discussing interactive interfaces for the PlayStation 5's operating system, and that actually lines up with what Mark Cerny said about the PlayStation 5's OS a while back, so I do want to highlight that. Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions have announced a major update for Death Stranding. Photo mode will be coming, we got the details on that. And God of War will be getting a very interesting comic. I typically don't cover comics on this channel, but God of War is a major PlayStation 4 game, and one interesting tidbit is what happened after God of War 3. Where did Kratos go? Well, this comic looks to fill the void on that. We'll go over that at the end of this video. First up, I want to talk all about the PlayStation 5's operating system. Again, detailed by Push Square, a patent published by Sony Interactive Entertainment last week discusses interactive interfaces, and it actually lines up with comments that Mark Cerny made to Wired last year. Effectively, Sony is looking to disconnect the operating system and the game elements. So let's say you go on a game that's a multiplayer game and you want to check servers and whatnot. Having to start the game, go into the menu, and then go in and check who's playing or whatever the case may be, that's a little bit of a hassle. So Sony is looking to streamline the process. Specifically, Cerny noted this: "We don't want the player to have to boot the game, see what's up, boot the game, see what's up. Multiplayer game servers will provide the console with a set of joinable activities in real time. Single-player games will provide information like what missions you could do and what rewards you might receive for completing them, and all of those choices will be visible in the user interface. As a player, you just jump right into whatever you like." I feel like little additions like this, obviously it's not going to be a system seller for the PlayStation 5. People aren't going to look at the operating system interface and be like, oh, I gotta get the PlayStation 5 now, and that's definitely not going to be a part of the marketing push of the PlayStation 5 when that time does come. However, elements like this couple together to create a more streamlined experience, and I feel like Sony has been getting better on the software side of things, where I always felt like they did lag behind Microsoft a little bit, just naturally because it is Microsoft. But I feel like they've been playing catch-up pretty well, and you know, elements like this, again, you couple this with a lot of the other elements, the quieter elements that Sony does seem to be implementing into the PlayStation 5, and that should all couple together to make the PlayStation 5 a more engaging platform, and that's really what you want from a console at the end of the day, and that's definitely what Sony, Microsoft, or any of these console manufacturers want out of a console, and that is engagement. That's why they want you to buy a console. That's why they release exclusives to get you to buy a console, so you remain engaged to that platform, and then you'll spend money on a variety of other things. Obviously, this is a little bit of a stretch to go from an operating system to, you know, spending money on PlayStation Plus and everything like that, but it all couples together and all comes together to hopefully make the end game of the user engagement a lot higher, and something like this will definitely do the trick in regards to that. And at the end of the day, for the consumer, that would actually streamline your decision making into what games you want to play. I mean, I know that if there's a bevy of games to play, and sometimes you have multiple games installed, and most people do, and when you're downloading games all the time, just scrolling through all your games and deciding what game to play sometimes is a little bit challenging. Obviously, if you're swapping discs and whatever, a little bit more of a challenge, but nonetheless, having immediate access to what you can do in the game, I feel like is just going to streamline the process of picking a game. Maybe it's something a little bit minute, maybe it's something a lot of people don't care about, but I do think it's rather interesting, and hopefully we hear more about that rather soon. Alright, moving on from that, Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding was one of the more controversial games of 2019. However, I think everybody can be in agreement that it is an absolutely visually stunning game. I love the open world to it, and it was a little bit of a disappointment that it didn't have a photo mode right out of the gate. However, that has been remedied. Kojima Productions announced, quote, "Thank you for your feedback, everyone. We're happy to confirm that photo mode will be coming soon to Death Stranding on PlayStation 4. Stay tuned for more details. Hashtag keep on keeping on. Hashtag Death Stranding." Now, photo mode has become a regular thing in a lot of PlayStation 4 exclusives, and it has really accentuated the ability for gamers to take some absolutely breathtaking photos. Until gamers started posting photos with a photo mode on social media, I didn't even think some of the shots were possible, imaginable, that they even kind of existed in the game. But in reality, people taking shots of games like Last of Us, Marvel's Spider-Man. I just saw a Marvel's Spider-Man shot the other day that looked phenomenal, and Death Stranding is a game that has some absolutely stunning visualization and a stunning world, so I feel like a game like this would go hand in hand with the photo mode so well. It's unfortunate that Death Stranding's peak has kind of fallen off. It would have been great had this come in November and people were posting photos, but whatever, still better late than never. And Death Stranding is a game that has been going on sale pretty regularly, and I always mention that it's a game that I recommend everyone to play. Yes, it's a little bit of a controversial game. Yes, it's not going to be a game for everyone, but I do feel like it's a game everyone should give a chance to. And yes, taking that plunge and taking a risk at a full $59.99, that's a little bit of an undertaking. However, now that the game has been regularly available for $29.99, I do think it's a more compelling purchase. Lastly, I do want to go over God of War Kratos' journey from PS3 to PS4 is going to be detailed in a new comic series as detailed by Screen Rant. This is very exciting to me because God of War has a phenomenal story, and I really thought the 2018 game took the cake in terms of narrative in a God of War title. And a new God of War comic book series from Dark Horse called God of War Fallen God will focus on Kratos' journey from the end of God of War 3 until the beginning of the most recent franchise entry on the PlayStation 4. Players familiar with the God of War series were taken aback when they were reintroduced to the character in the latest God of War title, as Kratos had not only grown older and abandoned the realm of Greek mythology, but he had also apparently mellowed out over the years and was now a father and teacher. Obviously, a lot of things took Kratos to getting to that point, and this comic series looks to detail that. Now, thanks to a new reveal by Comic Book, those players who were wondering just exactly what happened to Kratos know they are finally getting some answers. According to the comic's description, after finally killing Zeus at the end of God of War 3, Kratos then set sail for the desert in an attempt to distance himself from his home and his shame, only to find his rage and guilt follow close behind. Apparently, this new story will focus heavily on Kratos' inner demons, something which is also a driving force behind many of the video games in the God of War franchise. The description continues saying, quote, Kratos' rage against the one foe that has proven to be unconquerable, himself, but a war against oneself is unwinnable and only invites madness. And they have an official cover out as well, and that looks fantastic. Now, the argument can be made, is something like this that is a pretty major piece of the God of War story? I mean, this is a question a lot of people had. Should it be relegated to a comic series? Should it be relegated to something that's not a video game when God of War is a video game franchise? I understand that argument to be made, but I also think it's a good idea by offering other pieces of story content in other mediums. I think God of War is something that can transition into a comic series, can transition into other books, can transition into movies, television shows, whatever you want to do with it. God of War can have a lot of layers to it, but something like this I do hope is explored in a video game at some point. You could do a comic and you can tell this story firsthand through a comic series, but ultimately I would like to see these story beats fleshed out in a video game as well, because the majority of people that are into God of War, of course, are into God of War because of the video games. A large portion of the God of War audience is not going to check out these comic series, even if they're really good. They're just gamers. They don't want to read comic series or whatever the case may be. So ultimately, if they I'm not saying make an entire game out of God of War Fallen God. I mean, you can do that if you want to. I mean, I don't think anybody would be against more God of War content, but at least somehow tell that story in a game, whether it be through a journal, whether it be through in-game items that tell the lore, or just monologues by Kratos or whatever. You could do a lot with God of War, and I feel like something like this should be fleshed out in a game, although I'll definitely be checking out this comic as well. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, PlayStation 5's operating system is sounding pretty good, and I'm excited to see that fleshed out a little bit more. Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions have confirmed a much requested feature for Death Stranding in photo mode that will be coming soon, and we should be getting information on that rather soon. Stay locked to Kojima's Twitter account and Kojima Productions Twitter account. And again, great God of War Kratos' journey from PS3 to PS4 is going to be detailed in God of War Fallen God. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.